Okay, core support is out, radiator is out. I'm going to take these in on the side yard and do a little more fitment inspection, and I might, as I mentioned, I might move these brackets because they're lightly welded on. I don't know, it's not a real big deal, but I'm going to take a look at it. Just FYI, this is how far off it is, which is not a lot, but it does create that uneven gap. So it looks like about 1/4 inch. I'll measure it, and then I might move these over. We'll see. Okay, I'm gonna pack it in for today, but I've almost got these loose. I got the sides loose. I just have to finish grinding that. It's kind of hard to reach. But I decided, obviously, to move these because it just wasn't lining up at all. So in order to get the top right, get all this fitting, get the sides, get all the stuff fitting, I have to move these over, unfortunately. So like I said, I don't know if it's the radiator design or if it's the core support. I have a feeling it's the core support. I don't really care at this point. I'm just gonna do what I need to do to get it to fit. But looking at it right here, I can see that these two mounts are farther towards the passenger side. They're over towards the passenger side, which explains the gap on the driver's side. So I'm just gonna line everything up, get everything fit, and then I'm gonna fit these in position and then weld them up, but not today. All right, after much grinding, I finally got these off. Just gonna clean them up now. Got a little bit of bending to do, but not too bad. Get these cleaned up, and we'll get the radiator fit and get the positioning for these, and then we'll weld them up. All right, so it's the next day. I've got everything clamped into place as best as I can. Everything's measured out. I've got the top bracket in position and the seal retainer in position. I did a little bit of grinding over here to make sure that cleared, so this doesn't touch. And then I will re-drill the holes for those. And now I'm gonna just start by tacking this down, and then we'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll be good. Okay, there we go. Not the prettiest, but I think it's gonna work fine. These aren't going anywhere. So I just cleaned up the welds a little. I'm gonna throw some paint on this guy, and then we'll get everything back together. Here's what we have going. Just shot it with a few coats of paint. And I gotta move it now because it's not in the sun anymore, but it's looking pretty good. That's the piece I ground down a little bit. Yeah, so I'm gonna move these back into the sun so they can keep baking out here, and we'll get back at it. Just want to show you guys what it looks like with the radiator bolted in. This edge is pretty good. That's the driver's side. This side, though, I mean, this is the kind of stuff you're facing with third party. See the gap up here as compared to down here? Not a big deal, but it's just not straight. This thing's just not put together very well. Okay, let me show you guys what I have planned. It's a little convoluted, not as clear as they make it look in the assembly manual, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this kind of small piece. It's going to go down here along there, but only the length of the body of the finned part of the radiator. And then over here, because there's a little tiny gap, I'm just going to put this little guy under there. And the same thing over here at the end. There's just a little baby gap over there, so that's going to go in there. And on the sides, This is an interesting dilemma, isn't it? Because this thick piece will plug up the gap on here, but I need a thin piece down here because the radiator hose needs to go on this. And if this thick one is all the way down like that, or like this, there's no room. You can't get a radiator hose on there. So this one will be up here, something like that. And then I have this skinny dude that's just gonna squeak in there like that, right? And then this medium-sized piece, this is also from the shroud trim. This is not from the rad support trim. This one will fit nicely right in here under this support like that, right? And it'll go all the way across, so it's long enough to go all the way. And then over here I've got sort of this other slightly smaller piece but still substantial, and that will run the whole length up and down. So that's the plan. And I'm going to start peeling and sticking, and hopefully next time you see me, this will be, or next time you see this, all that will be in place and secured. Okay, gang, let's take a tour. Here's the top. This tricky area over here because of this hump, and I still have a tiny gap right here, which I will fill later. Here's the side with the two different sizes because I have to get the radiator hose around this one. Here's the bottom with a couple different pieces. Still need to kind of tuck this down, which I will do. Got that, not perfect. This side took the one piece, there's a tiny gap, which is fine, you know, it doesn't have to be like, we're not going into outer space here. Let me show you, without tipping the whole thing over, what it looks like from the front. So, like I said, this side over here, huge discrepancy in construction, but whatever. Maybe I can tighten that up a little. It's going to be covered with the condenser anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but that looks pretty good. That looks good. Little tiny gap there. And then this one corner up here, I gotta figure something out. I think it's just the fact that this is the smaller radiator size. It makes it a lot more complicated. So let me show you what I used and what I didn't use. Let's see if we can see the top. Yeah, top looks good. Looks really good up there. I mean, that's sealed, you know, it's not gonna be a problem. However, check it out, you guys. I didn't even use the two biggest pieces of foam. So maybe I can use these for something else. Maybe I can use them to anti-rattle the condenser or something. I don't know. But that was quite the journey. Lots of extra shenanigans going on here to get this thing mounted up. Maybe it would be worth just getting the bigger radiator and, you know, slapping it in there with the hook type mounts, because one of the problems with these is they have to be right on, whereas if you use the, you know, the hook type that go under and over, you can just put the radiator in and pretty much anywhere it's going to hold it. But this one is so specific. You've got the one in the center on the top and the two on the bottom, and you know, I had to move those just to get it as good as it is now, which is not great. It's fine, but it's not, I wouldn't call this perfection. Anyway, that's in. I'm going to leave it for now, and I'm going to come back in the next section. I want to put in the condenser for the AC. It's the next day, and I've got these brackets for the condenser. They go here. And I got some bolts, nuts and bolts to mount them because I don't have the traditional hook style radiator mounts. So I've got to drill holes, put these in. First, I've got the condenser over here. So I'm just going to open this. I'm kidding. Do you think I'm an idiot? Are you guys getting nervous? Let's open the condenser box. So I'll get that open. We'll take a look at it. Well, I got this kind of generally fitted, but check out this issue now. It's always something. This is basically touching this block-off plate. So there's no way you're getting a hard line on there. You can't, there's no room to screw anything onto that. Well, except this piece of plastic, but it just doesn't even move. This one seems to have a little more space, but not much. So I'm gonna take a couple pictures of this and send it to the Vintage Air Tech Support. Okay, here's the update. I just got off the phone with the people at Vintage Air, and what they said is to do some mock-up fitment in the car before you attach the condenser brackets and everything. So I will go ahead and I'm going to remove the condenser and the brackets. I'm going to go ahead and put the core support back in. And while I'm doing that, or before I do that, I will put the fan back on. I'm going to put the shroud shoved up out of the way, but down in the area, because I read somewhere that they said once you get the radiator installed, it's really hard to put the shroud in. I don't know about that. I think you have to either put the shroud in without the fan on. I don't think you could put the shroud in with the fan on, but maybe you could take the fan off and put the shroud in. Anyway, I'm just gonna put the fan on, shove the shroud up there, put the core support in, leave the condenser off, dry fit or mock up the hard lines, then worry about securing the brackets and totally in place. And what they said at Vintage Air was, you can move the position of these, of course. You know, I could put these behind here and gain a little tiny bit of clearance over here. But he said, just try to get the hard lines on first, and then move these as a last resort. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take their advice, and I have to give them props for getting back to me within a couple hours via email. So next step, I'm gonna take this condenser off, put the core back in, and we'll see you at that point. Radiator support and radiator are in. And I did use one of the fat pieces of foam. Maybe this was for up here all along, but this was part of the radiator shroud, radiator support foam, not part of the radiator shroud package. However, it does fit perfectly right there. I had to cut it. A couple weird things. One is that, and I know some of you guys know this, is this radiator, the engine is to the passenger side, or at least the fan is. So here you have the radiator. It's kind of weird, but the radiator center is here. And then, whoop. so and you can see over here too, the block-off plate here is wider than it is over here. So the whole radiator is like over towards the driver's side. And as a result, it, and that's probably why this is flat right here. See how this part of the shroud is flattened, and it goes right up this line right here. So I feel okay about that. This is all clear. But when you look at where the shroud is, it's just weird because it sort of lines up here. And then if you come over here, you got like a lot of radiator hanging out over there. So it's okay. It's still, the air is going to hit here after I put the hood seal on over on the top seal. You know, everything that goes into this area is going to go through the radiator, which is the main thing. And then, of course, a lot of it is going to be sucked through because of the shroud. But it's just kind of funny the way that lines up. Anyway, okay, gang. So I'm going to end this video here. Everything's tightened up on the top. I've got all these pretty much tight. Still keeping it a little loose because I have some fitment issues here. It's kind of, it was rubbing a little, but all of this can still move a little, and I still have yet to attach the bottom on both sides. So you do that down here. I'll probably use self-drilling screws for that. And overall, I'm really happy with the way this has come together. The rad's in, the shroud is on, the condenser's in. I didn't destroy anything in the process. There's nothing like binding up. Everything looks pretty good. These are still a little tight, but I think they're okay. I'm not, you know, they have to find their way, so to speak. But this all, yeah, looks pretty good. So thanks for hanging out through the long video. I know it's a long one. I will include some of this in my how to install the Vintage Air unit, but honestly, it's not a how-to. It's more of a here's what I'm doing with the Vintage Air thing. And you guys know the deal. I am not a professional. So thanks for watching. See you later.